For 5,000 years, every civilization on Earth agreed on one thing. Gold was money, not paper, not numbers on a screen. Gold, and in 1970 events, one man ended that with a single phone call. We live in a world of paper money, dollars, euros, yuan, yen. Currencies backed by nothing but the promise of governments. Most people have never questioned this system. But here's what's extraordinary. This system is only 55 years old. For the entire previous history of human civilization, money was gold. And right now, in 2026, the world's central banks are buying gold at the fastest pace in 50 years. They know something, and history tells us exactly what it is. Here is a question almost nobody asks. Why gold? Of all the things humans could have chosen as money, why this yellow metal? The answer changes everything you think you know about how the world works. Gold has three properties that no other substance on Earth shares. It doesn't rust, it doesn't corrode, it doesn't decay. A gold coin buried for 2000 years looks exactly the same when you dig it up. It's rare, but not too rare. There's enough to use as money, but not so much that anyone can flood the market overnight. And it's divisible. You can cut it into any size without changing its value. For ancient civilizations, gold wasn't chosen because it was pretty, it was chosen because it worked. The Egyptians used it, the Greeks used it, the Romans built their empire on it. The Roman denarius, a small silver and gold coin, financed the greatest military machine the ancient world had ever seen. And when Roman emperors started debasing the currency, shaving metal off the coins, mixing in cheaper metals to stretch their supply, the empire began to crack. Inflation, trade disruption, loss of confidence. The Roman Empire didn't fall because of barbarian invasions alone. It fell because it destroyed its money. Fast forward in 1,200 years, and the same lesson had to be learned again. In the 19th century, the world's great empires adopted what became known as the gold standard. Every paper note in circulation was backed by a fixed amount of gold. You could walk into a bank and exchange your paper money for real gold. The system created something extraordinary. Trust, international trade exploded. Capital flowed freely across borders. The British Empire, running on gold, became the largest economic force the world had ever seen. But gold had one limitation. You could only print as much money as you had gold. And in the 20th century, governments needed to print a lot of money. Two world wars, the Great Depression, endless social programs. One by one, countries abandoned the gold standard. Britain left in 1951. The United States, the last major holdout, created a compromise at Bretton Woods in 1951. The dollar would be backed by gold. Other currencies would be backed by the dollar. One anchor, the whole world hanging from it. And then on the evening of August 15, 1971, Richard Nixon went on television and cut the anchor. Nixon's decision was simple and devastating. The United States had been spending massively on Vietnam, on the Great Society programs, on the space race. Foreign governments, watching America print dollars to pay its bills, started demanding gold in exchange. France sent a warship to New York to collect its gold. The US gold reserves were draining fast. So Nixon did what every empire before him had done when the math stopped working. He changed the rules. On that Sunday evening, he announced the dollar would no longer be convertible to gold. Just like that, with no international agreement, no warning, no vote, 5,000 years of monetary history ended. The dollar was now backed by nothing, just trust, just the word of the United States government. For 50 years the system held, because the world trusted America, but in 2026 that trust is fracturing. China purchased 225 metric tons of gold in a single year, its biggest buying spree in half a century. Russia, India, Turkey, Poland, central banks across the world are quietly moving out of dollars and into gold. The dollar's share of global reserves has fallen from 71% in 1990 to 58% today. BRICS nations are building payment systems designed to settle trade without touching the dollar. And gold, the metal that financed Rome, built the British Empire, and survived every financial crisis in human history, is back at the center of the world's monetary system, not because governments chose it, because when paper promises start to fail, The world always remembers what real money looks like. 5,000 years of history doesn't lie. Subscribe to Empire Collapse because the most important financial shift of your lifetime is happening in silence.